In your experience, the three of you together before you wrote Title of Show?
Larry, I knew, actually I went to college at Webster University in St. Louis, Missouri. And Larry was working professionally there. And one of my first professional acting jobs was in a production of A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. We actually called it Nothing Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum.
That's the answer to one of the trivia questions, so this is excellent.
But Hunter was very fun. I was the music director, and he was a student and one of the roadies.
And so we had gone back many, many years to that. And then Jeff and I, you can tell that part.
You were going fun.
No, you'll like
We met doing a production of Good News in Virginia Beach, like where we brought as actors, and then we just stayed friends, and then we started working on projects with Susan Blackwell downtown, and
downtown where?
PS 122.
No, what city downtown? You just say
New
downtown.
York City.
Assuming that's
Downtown. And then we continued working, collaborating, and then once we started on this path, Larry jumped on kind of right away. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought the mics might still be up.
You got to talk louder, sir. We can't hear you at all.
I don't have a microphone. I'm sorry. I was never good at projecting.
Now, sort of like the Beatles, you had a different Heidi before Heidi, the way they had a different Ringo before Ringo, right?
We did. Our first Ringo was an actress named Stacia Fernandez.
Now you're talking too
Now
loud.
you're talking too loud, sir.
Good.
Stacia Fernandez, who we worked on it, developing the material, and she just took another project and went on to was developing a show of her own. And then Heidi Blickenstaff, who originated the role of Heidi. As we talk about the show, Jeff and Heidi knew each other from a production of Tommy in Brazil, and we brought her on board, and it was a great foursome.
A question, to me, so much of the message of Title of Show is about finding your dream and keeping it pure and not worrying about being everybody's thing. How does that relate to now? I mean, you sat here tonight and we do it different. There are different things happening. Do you have any, how does that relate in terms of really wanting to do your pure thing and have it be what you want to be? And now you've now seen, this isn't the first production that opened, even though we were the first production to get the rights. You've now seen 3 other productions, right?
3 around the country: St. Louis, Boston, and Cleveland. Cleveland. Yeah.
So, how do you...
About like meaning, how does it feel to see another like a different?
Yeah, and letting it go and not having it be.
It's of course it's mixed. It's very emotional to watch based on the nature of it. It's a little This Is Your Life, a little bit. So if you want a good ride, write a musical about 4 years of your life and have people put it on a stage and watch it. It's wild. It's like, like I think, if you have a birthday party and everybody comes and, and tells a story or something. So it's emotional to watch because it is evocative of all those times. With that, though, is a real sense of celebration. And I mean, it's a total celebration because it was as weird as it sounds, it was a total dream of Jeff and I's for this piece to live on. And we would joke about...
We would joke about this, like we're like, one day we're going to be sitting up on a stage in some city talking to some people who saw a show that we wrote that's about us. It's happening right now.
It's happening now. And we love it. I love that the work was on. I love the piece. I believe in it. And I love seeing other awesome, talented actors bring all their stuff to it, too. And I've always believed it's a great show and it's a really fun ride. And so I'm proud. Like, I'm really proud and excited for it to be out there and for people to have an opportunity to see it.
And for Larry, that's kind of a different question because we knew our original music director, who did a wonderful job, Christopher McGovern, had to miss the last week. And I was like, who can I get to replace him? And I said, well, what the hell? Why don't I ask the real Larry? And I called him up, and he was like, well, that might be fun. and so now I realized tonight was probably the first time you guys ever saw Larry do the show, and did you know he was making all those faces upstage?
Larry's very good in this show. I saw it one time in a put-in rehearsal off Broadway. I knew there was a date I was going to miss out of town for something. And I asked the actor to understudy, would you mind, like I'll put my writer hat on and watch it just to watch. And then I watched the show, and it was the first time I saw it, and I totally sobbed my eyes out. It was so weird. It was so weird. And it's nice to see.
How was that experience for you? Do you want to say anything?
It's like one thing we learned on this ride is everything is so many things simultaneously. So it's kind of weird whenever it's not weird. Like whenever we're doing 9 People's Favorite Thing and I'm just playing away and it sounds like every time I've heard it, and I look up and I'm like, who are these people? And then it's strange to, I mean, I like the things that are different because it's a fun challenge as a musician. But I have to keep aware to not jump right back into that groove that I know very well. And then it is also weird because I took that ride, these 4 years were my 4 years too, and I remember when every single one of those things happened, and I remember when they got in the show, and so it's like, what's going